What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. We're excited to be getting into all things going on in the world of professional wrestling. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by these two awesome gentlemen. Aaron Turner down there in Orlando. How are you doing? Look at that hair.
Fantastic. How are you?
Look at that. Already struggling. And down there below us, but of course above us with all his connections, Chris Burns. How are you, brother? Oh, everybody's got a shtick today.
I'm good. I'm solid. I'm living. I'm alive. Lots to talk about. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, show the shirt, brother, man. Show the shirt. That's a great shirt.
Come on now.
That's probably that might be the, except for maybe the all over print, which is really great, which this is equally as good. That's probably the most iconic Bret Hart shirt there is.
I like it.
I only do iconic, my friend.
Yeah, dude. It's the best. We got Andre the Giant, we got Bret Hart, we got Hogan. We're well represented today.
That's true. A lot of 1980s going on right now. It's the 90s.
We fucking hate modern wrestling. We're going to tell you why here in the next couple hours.
Yeah, we're going to get into so many things going on in the world of professional wrestling. As I mentioned here earlier, we're talking about the fallout from Hell in a Cell, get into Cody Rhodes' torn pec, whether he should or shouldn't have wrestled. We're going to get into AEW Dynamite, teasing all the Forbidden Door stuff. They're talking about Toni Storm came out on a podcast Chris Jericho's podcast, talking about the particulars of how she left the WWE. So we're going to talk about that. But someone who surprisingly announced her leaving the WWE, Paige, as well. We're going to get into all of that as well. And Smackdown and Raw, of course, talking about Gunther becoming the new IC champion over there on WWE. So we're going to talk about all that throughout this show here. Make sure you send in your Streamlabs and your SuperChat, support the show. Send in some cash there. Send in some support. You see the Streamlabs already have a Streamlab. Already have one Super Chat already. So start sending them in. You see the address, or I'll put the address in the chat, and we'll go from there. All right, Aaron, where shall we start, my man?
All right, let's start with the first bit of the week. Judgment Day has come for Edge. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about Monday Night Raw, a little bit of Hell in a Cell fallout. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was kind of like little bitty news. Cody Rhodes tore his pec off the bone, and it was, that was kind of going around on the loop there before Hell in a Cell that he injured it at a live show or doing weights or something. But he still did the live show,
right?
And I don't think anybody knew it was as bad as it was. And then Cody took off the jacket, and it was really bad. It was really, really bad. And then he still worked the match with Seth Rollins. It was a pretty damn good match considering. Yeah. And Cody came out on Raw, opened it up, said, "What if I just show up at Money in the Bank?" And then Seth Rollins comes out, shakes his hand, gives him a hug, and we get the tearful Cody of hey, I'll see you in a bit. And then he gets attacked by Seth Rollins, damaging the pec. So it looks like Cody could be out for as little as 3 to 4 months or as long as a year, depending on the severity of the injury and their healing process. It came out on, I think, Wednesday that his pec surgery went very well. So it looks like we're going to get Cody back sooner rather than later. And what a gutsy performance. We got to talk about that for just a second. Like, a torn pec is something that, a couple of years ago, Triple H did that in the Saudi Arabia match with him and Shawn Michaels against Undertaker and Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like, I can't imagine the agony. Like, I stubbed my toe on the coffee table this morning, and I was like, I'm done for the day. So I can't imagine ripping your pec like off the bone. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, he ripped it off the bone, so he can't hurt it like any worse. It's like, okay, but dude, that's a giant bruise that there was later photos in the week where it's like all the way down his arm. So I don't know, man. Like, tell me what you guys were thinking when you saw this.
Chris, please go ahead.
I got news for everybody out there who's been saying that, like, it was off, and so you can't damage it anymore, just like you can't get more pregnant. Again, I got news for you. You can always make it worse. You can always make it worse. And this guy, I mean, lunatic, utter lunatic. We've seen him set on fire. We've seen him drop through tables and thumbtacks. We've seen now him wrestling with this ridiculous injury.
Yeah.
Cody wants it better than anyone on the planet. Literally anyone. I mean, you talk about your Kenny Omegas, you talk about your Moxleys, your whoever. Nobody wants it as bad as Cody Rhodes, and he proved it and made, I mean, I got to say, as tough as it was to watch, it made a pay-per-view that nobody was expecting anything from into, I mean, he had a historic match, a historic moment, something that we'll remember forever, that's always going to be played in his promo packages and things of that nature. And you can guarantee that this meant something to Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy who gets mad when people sneeze. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's notoriously weird about people taking time off for, ailments and whatever else. But first of all, he's going to give it respect because he tore it while working out, which is something Vince does religiously every single day. And then the man still showed up to work, willing to work, wanting to work. Yeah. You got to believe that Vince McMahon is going to push him to the absolute moon when he comes back. It's sort of, in a perverse way, perfect. Because it's like, you didn't really want Cody to win the Money in the Bank, right? But the trajectory of his storyline is one to where he kind of can't be losing on his way to Roman. Right. So now he has this gutsy win at Hell in a Cell. He takes time off. They said on SmackDown that he's gone 9 months. But I have a sinking suspicion it'll be around Royal Rumble time. He makes a triumphant return, wins the Rumble. Boom, you got him and Roman for Mania. Yeah. Or whoever the fuck is the champion, because Rock is probably going to be with Roman.
So let me tell you my feelings about this. I had two contrasting feelings, both powerful feelings about this. And it was one, I absolutely respect the guy who was willing to go in there and put on a show for the fans in the main event, who spent their hard-earned money to be there, who wanted to see him. I respect this is a guy that was kind of drummed out of AEW after they used him essentially to establish the company, and went back home to the company that he always felt his family wasn't given the right amount of respect in. And so he wanted to come back and prove it, do something his father couldn't do, which is win the top belt at WWE, and wanting to kind of create a whole new legacy in the WWE in essentially a second run, And so I love that. And I love and the match was damn good. I was really shocked he was able to go as long as he was. I mean, people don't play football with torn pecs. So I can't imagine a match like that. And it wasn't a regular match on SmackDown. This was Hell in a Cell with, like, you saw the sledgehammer, all the nine. Like, it was insane, the shit he went through. But on the other side, I look at it and I go, isn't this what we've been talking about, to like break down this idea of, you got to be a man, do this kind of stuff like a man. And the truth is, now he may be out, as you said, Chris and Aaron here, 9 months. I've heard possibly a year. And what would have the wiser decision might have been for him to stay home, not do the match, heal, then get better, and come back in and have a run of matches at pay-per-views or premium live events over the next few months that keep establishing his legacy. This will still work out, because down the road, as you said, Chris, if he shows up at Royal Rumble, people will lose their minds. He absolutely won the fans over. Even the fans that might have questioned his toughness, questioned who he is. I get it. But he also put himself on the line for a company that doesn't give their employees health care, that always pushes their employees past their physical, mental, emotional limits. And so now Vince can say, well, Cody wrestled with a torn pec. I don't know what your problem is. And so it becomes an issue here where you're what do I say this? You're reinforcing the narrative that Vince has had for decades about wrestlers, which you touched on as well, Chris. So to me, I respect what he did, but on the other side, I'm like, why do you need to be in service of that guy, that company, and the fans who are going to forget you when you go away for a while, and you'll have to come back and deliver a hell of a match to get them back on board? Or else, if you come back, you deliver 2 lackluster matches in pay-per-views, they're going to start talking about you like you passed it. So they're not even going to remember the pec stuff. So this is the thing that I worry about with a situation like this. But at the end of the day, I respect that he was able to put himself through an incredible amount of pain. That is not in any way easy to do. As Aaron, you said, people are ridiculous for saying, oh, well, it was kind of disattached. He couldn't have hurt it more. That's insane. And I was scared that this could have been a permanent injury. So what was the point if you were going to give yourself a permanent injury that would end your career? What would have been the point, But, what do you think here?
I think Kurt Angle. We should all blame Kurt Angle because he set the precedent. He set the precedent of I won the Olympics. I won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck. Yeah. You really can't get any tougher than that. But like we've seen it in sports, like Terrell Owens in the Super Bowl, broken leg, 122 yards receiving, like unfucking believable.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers played a whole game with a torn ACL. My friend Levi Merritt played the West Virginia semifinal state championship tournament with a broken leg. Shouldn't have played, but he did. But it's just, I think you're right, John. Like sometimes you have to save them from themselves. Like, would the fans have been disappointed if Cody didn't make Hell in a Cell and they had to replace it? Yeah, but Cody also is a younger guy and he's got a young family and stuff like that. Like it's not. You don't want to do this to one of your top stars. I did see on Twitter, and I hope this happens, that John Cena visits Cody, does the Mr. Miyagi thing, because we know how like John Cena came back from I think a torn bicep or something, like in 4 months, record time. Yeah, he showed up at that Royal Rumble and won it. So
he's an anomaly, though, man. He's
a freak. He's an absolute freak.
Like LeBron's a fucking genetic freak, man. There's no reason those legs haven't broken underneath him. It's insane.
I would argue that Giannis is a freak, but anyway, the Greek freak. But it's crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. Brock Lesnar smashed his head in on that botched shooting star press and still finished the match. So we've seen it in wrestling. I don't know if it's it does kind of waver that toxic masculinity, if you want to call that line. It does kind of waver there, but as long as he didn't hurt it any worse, I'm fine with it. Sure, whatever.
I mean, but also because he wants the love of the fans here, man. I mean, he did, in his mind as a lifer, he did the right thing. And that's his right as a human being, dare I say it, as an American, to do what he wants to do here for the business and for his career and his legacy. So, you can't argue. He had every right to go out there and do it, and he did it. For me, looking at it, if he had permanently injured himself, what would have been the result of that? Why would you sacrifice longevity for a short-term moment that would have been fleeting the second you got the news from the doctor that you are no longer able to wrestle ever for the rest of your life, or you won't be able to pick up your kids with your arms, And so those are things that, I don't know. I think it was an incredible match, though. He deserves all kinds of respect. I mean, Triple H, I thought, set the bar with the quadriceps thing and wrestling that match.
Yeah.
But this sets the new bar, I think, big time. And I bet this went a long way to getting him respect with the new generation of wrestlers who are always looking to make fun of the older generation of wrestlers. And Cody's kind of in that category now. So in a way, he kind of earned respect, probably across the board in multiple federations from a number of wrestlers for sure.
I think his dad would have done it. His brother would have done it. So
you're right. Oh my God, Dustin would have.
Yeah. Absolutely, Dusty would have did it. I think the interesting conversation aside from Cody now is the ramifications now, though. So now Cody's gone for 9 months or whatever it is. And now WWE is in decision-making mode because he was basically their top babyface on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
You got your Lashleys, you got your whoever, Riddle, I guess. But it's like Cody was the guy.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I think they kind of mishandled what happened with his go-away speech on Monday. I think the speech was great.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins comes out. He's normal. Shakes his hand, tells him, Dusty, I don't like you. You know what I mean? But I respect you. Dusty would be proud. Great. Hey, guess what, WWE? There's your baby face.
Right.
Seth Rollins.
Right.
He was the hottest baby face in the company when he returned from injury. So it would make sense that he respect Cody for what he's going through and losing to him. And now Rollins is your guy. You don't have to have him come back out with the sledgehammer and blah, blah, blah. We all know he's hurt. We don't need you to do an angle to say hey guys, he's even more hurt than the big ass bruise that he has going down the whole side of his body, like he's being taken by the Venom symbiote or something like that.
Oh,
it's just like, yo, like let Rollins be the guy. Now you're doing weird shit like taking Edge out of Judgment Day and all this other stuff, which we'll talk about, blah, blah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like they dropped the ball there. You had a perfect opportunity and you let it go to waste.
Yeah, what do you think, Aaron?
Just my 2 cents.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. We're good. I have a list here of people that are not active in wrestling right now, and it's fucking staggering. It's seriously staggering, dude.
That they could have brought back, you mean, to kind of take the spot?
No, they're just out. They're just
Okay.
like inconspicuously off
hurt.
TV and like
okay.
hurt off TV. Like where have they
Gotcha.
been? You put them on a milk carton. Like I don't know what's going on. We can talk about that later, but I agree with Chris 100% that you had a chance, golden opportunity, and it's gone.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What you're saying, Chris, as well. Like, let it go, because just like you did with Asuka and Becky, right? She handed the belt to Asuka because she's going to go off and be a mom. Asuka didn't turn around to beat the shit out of her while she was pregnant before she left the ring. So it's like
that'd been great.
Yeah, right. So the smarter move would have been just to let that go. And Rollins is your easy baby face. Absolutely. And you can keep Judgment Day going. You can keep and you just have Rollins do the promo where he's like, what you did in that ring changed my mind. About my approach to this. I need to take a look at some things. I've been going off or going in this direction, and you kind of woke me up about some things, and I may need to take a look at some things. And that is your storyline that kind of carries over for a couple of weeks or whatever while he's figuring out what to do. And then in one moment he comes in and saves a babyface. He rushes in and saves a babyface, maybe from Judgment Day, and sets something up there. Rollins versus Edge would have been awesome in a matchup down the road, and then maybe you line him up for Reigns down the road again. I don't think people could ever see Rollins versus Reigns enough, to be honest with you. They're just such great chemistry in the ring. So, I think you're 100% right, Chris. They just kind of blew it there. It was an easier path that was there, and they chose the harder, confounding path to walk with more minefields that it's not going to work. Because I'm not intimidated by Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley. Not at all. Edge was the intimidating factor to lead them. He was the Hogan to the rest of them, and it doesn't work. The NWO didn't work with Nash leading it or Scott Hall leading it or Wolfpack didn't work with. It's Hogan who leads. That's how it works. Edge would have led Judgment Day quite fine, so it was confounding what they decided to do.
WWE got a WWE.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's hit some Streamlabs and Super Chats here. We got the first Super Chat that came in early in the show from Chris Cutra, who said, good news is Gunther won the IC title. Bad news is he won a title that guarantees he won't work pay-per-views or premium live events. Well, we'll get to that, right? I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll get to
either.
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that. We'll certainly come back to that, Chris. Chris Miner says, I was listening to Cornette, and he was talking about generational talent. Who would you consider the worst generational flop? DiBiase, San Martino, and Curtis Axel, or some? Can't forget The Rock. Oh, just joking. Interesting question, gentlemen. Worst generational talent?
Scott Putski. I'm not kidding. His father, the Polish Hammer, Ivan Putski. Come on.
Come on now.
Half of the Von Erichs would have been a good one.
Wow.
Even Lacey?
Yeah, especially Lacey.
How
So,
dare
like, if it wasn't Carrie, if it wasn't David, and if it wasn't Kevin,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Wow.
I don't care. They all sucked.
Wow.
David Flair, yeah, that's a good one.
Damn it, I was going to say David Flair.
But not Charlotte. Not Charlotte Flair, damn you.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going with Scott Putski.
Okay. What do you got there, Chris? What's your thoughts?
Interesting pull for all the Ivan Putski fans out there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's 80s day, baby.
I'm gonna go with Cody Hall.
Whoa,
Scott
yeah.
Hall is
Wow.
we all got to see what Scott Hall meant to the wrestling world during
Yes.
his unfortunate passing, and just the memories and how he was the much like Walter is now. I'm sorry, Gunther is not recognized in my world. Like how he is the prototypical wrestler. Scott Hall was that of his day. Just perfect, smooth in the ring, had the build, had the charisma, could talk on the mic, was a character, was larger than life, everything. And then his son, Cody. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I get it. You were in Bullet Club for a second, Cody. But I mean, we just wanted your dad to hang around. If I'm being honest with you, just
I'm gonna cheat a little bit and not use a wrestler dad, but a owner dad, and I'll say Garrett Bischoff. That was the worst. I mean,
aces and eights, baby.
Talk about trying to get your son over at Bring Your Son to Work Day. It was the worst watching him wrestling throughout WCW. It was just painful, man. It brought back all those images of the dads who bring their idiot sons and give them high-ranking jobs because they started the company and their son needs a job. And you're watching that idiot fall all over himself and get all kinds of leeway that you don't get. And yeah, he was terrible. Fuck, he was terrible. Your choices are great, absolutely, but he was terrible. I mean, David Flair, I think, is the number one, but yeah,
that's hard. That's hard to live up to.
Right. I mean, Charlotte's doing a great job.
Charlotte's
doing a great job. To your point.
Yeah.
But this makes me wonder. This question makes me think about Davey Boy Jr. Why it can't seem to work out in WWE. He's great. I really enjoy Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I read a story about they were going to change his name on
SmackDown
when he was brought back to WWE. Oh my, the Stampede
Stud, baby.
What the fuck? Someone said Horse Hogan.
Oh, Horse Hogan was bad. He wasn't a son. He wasn't.
Haskell gets it. Haskell said Ivan Putski was the first wrestler I ever saw on TV back in 1978. He fucking gets it. He knows what I'm talking about. You could say Tamina as well if you wanted to. Yeah.
Tamina's still around, man. I mean,
she's still not good. A lot of people are saying Dominic Mysterio. Ouch.
Well, we're not done yet. When he's done, then maybe. Yeah.
Richie Steamboat. Come on, Senor Nerd. Richie Steamboat. It's not fair. He got hurt. He got in a crash. Like, it's not his fault.
Don't make me say Brian Pillman Jr. Don't make me say it.
No. Brian's got talent.
I'm not seeing it yet, but don't make me say it.
He's a kid. He's like not even 30, dude. Like he's got plenty of time.
The Rock was a 7-time champion by the time he was 30. Give me a break.
The Rock is the
and he's a second generational talent as well.
Third. He's one of the rare guys that I think is better than the legacy before him. Same thing with Ted DiBiase Sr.
Yeah.
His father, Iron Mike DiBiase.
Oh yeah.
He's better. He was better than his father, better than Ted DiBiase Jr. Like,
yeah,
I like Ted. I like Ted a lot.
Randy too. Randy better than Cowboy Bob. Absolutely.
Randy better than Cowboy Bob. Randy Savage better than his father. Oh, we didn't even mention the genius. We didn't even talk about that.
You will not slander Lanny Poffo in my presence. Okay. The genius was indeed that genius.
Kendall Wyndham's a good one.
I'm here to read a poem for everybody in the audience. Yeah, I love the genius. The genius was the best.
The original Mr. Perfect manager.
He was. I mean, him coming out in the valedictorian light blue. It was brilliant. Empire Fan 1980 says the only problem I had with Judgment Day was they talk too damn much. The more they keep talking, the more I knew they were going to turn on Edge.
Okay.
Fair. And we're going to get to that, Empire Fan. Don't sweat it. Luis Enrique here as well saying, good morning, fellas. Prediction on who would be in the Money in the Bank main event, male and female. Do you think they'll push someone new? Interesting. Are we there yet? Should we put a pin in that as well?
I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to think. For men, I'm thinking Drew McIntyre. Like that just kind of fits in my brain.
Okay.
And then for women, I'm thinking it's going to be someone that's won it before, I think. Has Becky won it before? I think it might be Becky.
Yeah. To kind of put herself back in a position for title? Yeah. Is that what you think?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to say Alexa because she always wins that damn thing.
Yeah, I was going to say she's won it before. I guess it doesn't matter. Sam Houston, someone in the Zoom station in the chat. Sam Houston, legacy wrestlers. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know who wins it for the men, but who they should have should be Sami. It should be Sami Zayn.
That would be hilarious. I would awesome. Like that. Or Kevin Owens
for the bloodline. Yeah, to kind of be like, oh look, guys. Yeah, that would be.
And then they're always worried that he's going to cash it in on Roman at any given time. It writes itself.
Dude, that does write itself. He comes out with the Usos after Roman's had a crazy main event that is exhausting and he's barely standing. And the Usos like, fucking what? And he comes out with the case too, kind of just hanging out, celebrating in the last minute, just knocks out Reigns. Oh, that was brilliant.
Oh, yeah, Reigns kills him in 2 seconds.
Of
That's how
course. It has to end that way, but it would be fun on the way.
Let's see. Chris Miner says, I just don't want Cody Seth 4 when he returns.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get it.
Yeah, I think we're done with that one for a while. Luis also says, I read somewhere that Edge didn't like the supernatural take on the Judgment Day. Do you think that's why they brought in Balor and to make Edge a babyface again? Really? You think Edge had issue with the booking on this?
This is the fucking Brood.
But that's what I heard the same thing. I heard he wanted a more like psychological kind of thing and not necessarily full on spooky dooky. But WWE likes to give people fucking powers. You know what I mean? And I don't think he wanted superpowers.
Well, not just WWE, Chris. I mean, Chris Jericho's his wizard now, so not just
those powers were bestowed upon him on his own doing, his own study of the Necronomicon. That wasn't anything to do with the AEW booking, okay? But in this situation, I totally get why. I mean, because think about Edge's storylines up to this point. Like it has been pretty serious.
Yeah, true, very true.
You know what I mean? So it's like it would be weird that all of a sudden he has like superpowers. But Balor, they're like, oh, that guy can turn into a demon. Let's put him in there. And that's just you can see that's the way Vince McMahon probably thinks about it.
Nerd Chris, what do you have to say? Or Nerd Aaron, what do you have to say about this?
Actually, Chris, the Necronomicon is the book of the dead, and it doesn't actually conjure or make anyone a wizard. It is to trap and kill Kandarian demons. Thank you.
Well said.
Wow. All the women watching just dried up.
They all just left.
Orlando Rego says, I couldn't get into the match due to Cody's injury. Happy he got the respect from fans, even though he didn't get it in AEW. I guess so. So.
That's a solid point. I felt like I was half in the bag on it. I was like, don't get hurt, but like keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the the ironic boos at Cody, that shit is over with.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Come on, Brooke Hogan was the best part of TNA while her dad was injured.
Oh, fuck.
I do think that is a main event that is yet to happen and should. Brooke Hogan versus Charlotte Flair.
Oh, my God.
I'm in. Let's go.
Do you know how far Brooke Hogan has to come as a wrestler?
Let's go. Charlotte could carry it. Let's go.
Versus Tessa Blanchard.
Yikes. Yikes.
All Brooke has to do is the 5 moves of doom, baby.
That's true. We got 2 Streamlabs from Christine who's hanging out with us. So that's one lady who's still sticking
before
around.
she left.
Yeah, right, exactly. Christine said, Paige was poignant in me getting back into wrestling. I was able to see SummerSlam in LA that same year. And though Cena versus Brock was the talk of the town, her and AJ Lee had a banger match with Paige winning the Divas title on her 22nd birthday. She also says, though her time was short, she definitely made it count. Also, Aussie Open and AEW Hell. Yes. Saw them wrestle earlier last year, and they are bloody phenomenal. Anyway, pre-show donations is out. It'll be 2 a.m. here. Great show, guys. Looking forward to listening to it later. All right. Thank you, Christine. Appreciate the donations. Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. So we'll definitely swing around to Paige and AEW as well. All right. Those are the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Let's move on to our next thing. Aaron, what should we get into next?
Do you want me to continue with Monday Night Raw, or we can just put that in the bag?
If there's anything big that you want to talk about, I mean, we should talk the Judgment Day situation, right? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Well, let's also talk about the fact that Dana Brooke pinned Becky Lynch on live television
for the 24/7 time. Why is Becky involved in it? But there is kind of a brilliance to this, I think, in that this sends Becky all the way down to the point where Becky is now an underdog coming back up. It's kind of smart. I mean, I will give credit to WWE when they book correctly. I kind of love that. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No, that's all I had. I just can't believe that happened. Like, even if you're going to beat her with somebody, don't make it Dana Brooke. Don't make it Dana Brooke.
Wow. Okay.
I loved it. I was like, when they said this match is for the 24/7, I almost lost my fucking mind. I was just like, this is so perfect. Becky's, talented and funny enough to pull this off.
Yeah.
And like you said, it adds to the storyline. She's so desperate to have gold again. She's willing to lower herself to try to get the 24/7 championship in an actual match. You know what I mean? Like, that is just fucking great. And then it sets her up perfectly for Money in the Bank, like we just talked about.
Yeah, good point. Where she goes all the way to the top, right? And Asuka did help Dana win the match, so fair, but still, Dana got the W. Do we need to say more about the Judgment Day situation? This was kind of a surprise, at least for me. It was a little bit of a surprise when it happened. I don't know that I think they've immediately neutered this storyline, and I feel bad for Rhea Ripley more than anyone else. I mean, Finn's had his run. Damian Priest, I don't know if he's ever going to have his run, but Rhea, they just can't seem to put her in the right position to shine yet fully on the main roster. And this is not going to help unless they bring a fourth person in who's really just no one expected it. I don't think it's going to work with these three, to be honest with you. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, Rhea put herself in a position to succeed by forgetting her ring gear and having to wrestle in the shorts at the pay-per-view, and now it's taken on a life of its fucking own.
She's just running with it now.
Yep. She's well aware of the attention that she got from the change in gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly right. Like, this was supposed to be her, her being in DX, her being in the NWO, her being in whatever it is, that it's like, okay, like now the pressure's not on you to carry the act. You can kind of be in it, learn, get over, and then when you break out, this will be a much bigger thing for you. But as much as I love the Prince, it's like, just the internal logic of what's going on. Not that WWE cares about that anyway, but you just beat this man's ass several times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Several times, including the night before on the pay-per-view.
Right.
So he should lead you?
Yeah.
Like,
weird.
what? I get. Then the weird hand wavy promo about it that she put on Twitter, like, "Oh, chaos! You just gotta have to embrace it at time." What? No. Edge made you both better. Your careers got better. You're picking up wins. You're coming out on top, and then you just dump him just cause this other guy's here. Like, oh my god! Man, the Balor. They tried to have Balor lead factions in the past in WWE, and it has not worked because they just see Balor as a hand, man. They just see him as a good hand. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, who can give us a good match real quick? Oh, we'll put Finn in there. No plans for him. No real designs on making him a big deal or pushing him or anything like that. So you got to believe that this is going to be, the new Brood or whatever, other like second incarnations of a faction that failed.
Right. Aaron?
I don't like it. Like, a lot of people have compared Judgment Day to the House of Black. Without Edge and Finn in that position, I call them the House of Whack because it just doesn't work. Like, we don't have the same mystique as we used to on Finn Balor. No. Same with Damian Priest too. Like, when Damian Priest was like whooping everyone's ass and like he was a U.S. champion, he was killing everybody. I was like, all right, well, we got some cachet on Damian Priest. He's got that deep voice. He's got a unique look. I'm not even really impressed by him anymore. And that sucks. Because I really liked him in Ring of Honor when he was Punishment Martinez. But Rhea Ripley as well. Like, how many times have I said it? Like, Rhea and Bianca need to be the Stone Cold and Austin of the women's division. We're getting that at the next pay-per-view. That's going to be the women's championship main event. But it feels like it kind of sucks. And I feel like Rhea's been doing no favors. It made no sense to turn on Edge. Like, they were a unit for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks total.
6 weeks. Yeah.
And it's like, then AJ put out a tweet that was like, oh, interesting. Finn Balor is the leader now. And I'm like, no, we don't want you in this group too.
Right.
No, AJ.
Oof.
God. Yeah. So it's just, it sucks. And I think Edge needed to go somewhere, I guess. But if Edge comes back, like, see, I was thinking, okay, now that Cody's out, so we're going to pencil Edge in as the top.
Yeah, he's basically the face now.
It's like, all right, makes sense. But if Edge comes back, he can't feud with Roman, so he has to feud with the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So now we're going to pencil Riddle into that spot. Now Riddle's going to fight Roman next week on SmackDown for the championship. We're going to give Riddle the big push. So it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it's a mess. Like, AEW, WWE both have a big mess right now.
Yeah.
And this is just a big part of it.
Yeah, injuries and what have you are the things that are causing these issues. And I was just looking through the Raw roster, and there's literally no one who isn't involved in another kind of big storyline who could slide in here and lead this team. I mean, maybe Owens, but that doesn't make any sense. Owens has never done anything supernatural. Bobby Lashley doesn't make sense either. Ironically, Orton could be interesting, but he's doing himself with Matt Riddle, and he's hurt. So I don't see anybody. I mean, you could fuck around and throw Theory in there and see if that could be like a young stable of people there doing their thing. That could be interesting, but there's no one on the Raw roster right now. And even if they brought back Cesaro, it wouldn't work. Now, Bray Wyatt, that is a possibility. If they bring Bray Wyatt back, like the rumors have been saying, and he leads Judgment Day, that's a whole nother thing. As the Fiend and whatever, still plays in the supernatural game. He's still kind of a younger wrestler, so it could work with the ages and look and everything like that. So you'd have a new leader. But yeah, it isn't Finn. Finn ain't scaring nobody. No offense. Finn too pretty. Nobody buys him as a heel. Those abs are too nice. He's too pasty. He's too chiseled facially. It doesn't work. With Edge, it was this like broken glass and barbed wire, man. That's what he was. And so it added that element of brutality to it that you don't sense from Finn Balor. So at the end of the day, that's the shame. There's no one who's going to step in there unless they get Wyatt to come back, for God's sakes.
You know who I also feel bad for? Edge's hair. This man cut the locks to start fresh, do a new thing, and he's like, I get 3 weeks of traction out of the haircut. 3 weeks, guys. Oh, come on.
Yeah, Orlando saying the only reason WWE for the turn was because WWE doesn't have time. But yeah, we all know that, Orlando. Edge can easily be back as babyface. Is there a way to save Judgment Day? No, we just talked about it. There isn't. It really isn't, unless you bring back Bray Wyatt, in my opinion. I don't know what these two gentlemen believe over that one, but that's the only way you save it is Bray Wyatt, in my opinion.
Here's my thing about the we need to turn Edge babyface because Cody's gone thing too. You know who they announced is coming back in a couple weeks?
Big match,
John Cena. So what? What do you mean you're missing a baby face? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cena Rollins would be fun. Damn, Cena Rollins could be fun.
Come on.
This man visiting Ukrainian refugees in his spare time. John Cena, good Lord.
Still wearing the gear, too, that son of a bitch.
Well, you got to.
What are you doing in the Ukraine wearing your John Cena shirt and hat? I was like, what are you doing?
I read that Alexa Bliss set that up.
Yeah. With
cool.
Misha. Yeah.
Very cool. Cool for her.
That was pretty nice. Absolutely. That's Make-A-Wish to the nth degree, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
All right. So should we move to SmackDown, man? Let's move to SmackDown.
Yeah, we'll do SmackDown real quick. So I did mention that Riddle will face Roman Reigns for the undisputed title next week. So I took Roman Reigns off my where the fuck are you list. And then Ronda Rousey defeated Shotzi to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Gunther, formerly Walter, defeated Ricochet to become the new Intercontinental Champion. And I really do disagree with the super chat that we had earlier because I really think that Gunther or Walter will make the loop. We'll do that. Like we talked about this, like I think last week or the week before. We got to make these mid-card titles mean something. You put it on a guy like Gunther, it's going to mean something.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's the right guy to hold it. If you're not going to put it on Drew McIntyre, which would also be a good choice, I think that you got to put it on him. And then now on the other side, we have Lashley and it looks like Theory for the U.S. title. So we're beefing up the mid-card, and that's what we want to see. And I'm glad that Gunther got the dub.
What do you say there, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing that needs to happen when you have an absentee champion like Roman Reigns. You have to have the mid-card belts need to be more important. Those need to start main eventing house shows. Those need to start being the main focus of the television programs. And now that Roman is the undisputed champion who can go to both brands, you got to use him like Ric Flair in the old NWA, where it's like once somebody ascends to a certain level, Papa comes to spank you. You know what I mean? That's how that has to work. You know what I mean? That's very simple pro wrestling booking. Let him sit atop of his throne and wait for people to ascend like you're trying to get to fucking Goro in Mortal Kombat. And, that and in the meantime, you make you make other people way more important. You, like I said, you make the mid or hard belts more important, and that just is better for not only the wrestlers, it's better for the company, and even monetarily, you sell more replica belts, you sell more merchandise. It just becomes a cyclical thing that's better for everybody.
Yeah.
And Walter is a guy that said very explicitly when he signed with WWE that he didn't even want to come to the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come to the main roster, in fact. So now that it's come a call in, you better believe they better use him, because he ain't going to say, I left my family in the UK to come and sit in catering. Oh, no. Somebody's getting chopped to death, and it's happening on a regular basis. And you didn't say this, Aaron, but because you brought his name up, McIntyre versus Walter, an IC title feud.
Give me it.
Put it in my fucking veins right now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Because, like I said, big meaty man slapping meat. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I like the idea, and you're absolutely right, Aaron. This is what gets the attention on the belt. This is, I think he'll now be at premium live events all the time, because no one was showing up for Ricochet. Of course, some people love Ricochet for sure, but he wasn't putting butts in seats. Walter is interesting, or Gunther rather, puts butts in seats, gets people interested, has an international name, so people know him. You can go to the UK, you can go to Germany, you can go to all these places that the WWE likes to go to, and you can have Gunther main event some of them for his belt, for his IC title. So that's all possible. You make money. It makes sense. And you're right, Aaron. The fact that you've got Roman Reigns, kind of a void of Roman Reigns right now, you got to fill it with these guys that are going to get people's attentions. And certainly he does that. So it's a smart move. And I will say one more thing on this, on the Riddle situation. I haven't been the big fan of the OK Bro, whatever the hell they're calling themselves.
RK Bro, sir.
RK Bro, sorry. And not a fan of Matt Riddle at all. But that motherfucker has found a new level. And I have been loving it. His promos, his matches, they are letting him loose. And it is so much fun to watch. I think he's going to give Reigns one of the best matches he's ever had when they have that match next week. I just have a feeling this is going to be a hell of a match between them, because this is a great coming out situation for Riddle. And then him and RK, they're going to break up, obviously, because, Randy's injured and come back a little bit later, and he's going to go off, and Randy will be pissed off that Riddle went and did his thing without him. And it's great. Sets up perfect face versus heel type situation that gets him even more over. So do you guys have any belief that they'll put the straps on Riddle because this Reigns injury might be longer, or anything like that? What do you guys think?
I think Riddle's the future. Okay. Riddle's a guy that, he is prototype Vince McMahon love affair, long hair, tall, big, and legit. The guy had a damn decent UFC record before deciding to leave because they wouldn't let him smoke weed. So, and he can talk, to your point. Johnny's starting to get a lot better on the microphone. Yep. And what I love about SmackDown in general this week was we got to see the last remnants of NXT when it was great, and why it worked and why we needed it. Shotzi had a great performance. Riddle had a great performance. And Ricochet all had great performances this week. And those are all guys that were around during the final heyday of NXT. And aside from Braun Breaker, I don't know what the hell we're going to get from that brand next. That's on the way to 205 Live, baby.
Tiffany Stratton, son.
Gigi Dolan.
I heard she got hurt. Anyway, yeah, I concur. With everything that has been said. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
We've got a couple of super chats here. Orlando Rego saying the only reason for the we already said that one. Sorry, get a second one here from Luis Enrique de la Peña. He says the Bullet Club with Liv Morgan would have been a better faction than Judgment Day. Yikes! # Bull Liv Club. # Live Sweet. No.
Two things.
GTFO.
Unless you have something to say, Aaron.
GTFO.
Yeah.
You don't just get into Bullet Club all willy-nilly, by the way. But go ahead, Chris.
Two things. It's not the Bullet Club.
Yeah, but put it down.
Just Bullet Club.
Right, fair point.
Period. Okay, let's make that clear. Secondly, Liv has never been in Bullet Club. Okay?
Yeah.
There is no Bullet Club in the WWE. They've tried to mimic us. They've tried to make their own version. They tried to imitate, duplicate, but they can't replicate. You understand? This is our era, and no. Wrong. Love you, Lewis, but no.
Yeah, I agree. That's a ridiculous thing. Plus, because everyone can wrestle and Liv is a marginal wrestler. So, all right, let's move on. Aaron, what do we got next here? Sorry, Aaron, real quick.
Yeah.
Keep sending in your Streamlabs super chats, folks. Please keep sending them in. We got 100 of you watching us right now. Please hit that like button as well as you're watching. And if you're watching later, hit the like button and leave a comment as well. All right, sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
It's all right. She fights with her family. You screamed for her. It is Paige. Announcing that her WWE contract expires in July, which if you caught a couple weeks ago, we already told you that.
Yes.
And it doesn't look like she will be renewed. I do want to note that Paige last wrestled in 2017 after a neck injury at a house show ended her in-ring career for now in a match that involved Sasha Banks. Paige, of course, was the first NXT Women's Champion. She defeated Emma to get that honor. She moved to the main roster without losing that NXT Women's Championship and defeated AJ Lee for the then WWE Divas Championship. Of course, over the years since injury, Paige has worked as a GM for SmackDown and a manager for Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in Absolution. So what do you think is next for Paige, or I guess we should call her now Saraya?
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
You know what? I think she might go back to WWE. I think she's going.
Down the road? Yeah.
I think she's gonna heal and go back.
Yeah.
Her whole legacy. I mean, I get it. She could go to AEW. She could go to wherever she wants, obviously, and heal when she's healed up and ready. I just think she's going to. I think she's going to heal up. She's going to do her thing with the Twitch and all the coffee company and the other ventures that she's got going on. Because I mean, they're just not using her. You know what I mean? She's not on TV as a mouthpiece for anyone. She's not a manager. She's not a heater. She's nothing. So let her go off and do her things because WWE frowns upon their wrestlers doing all that extra stuff. And so build it up, get it to where you want to be, get your neck right. Do all the experimental shit that Daniel Bryan and Edge and everyone else has done.
Yeah.
Get where you need to be physically. And then I see them bringing her back. I see her, making a triumphant return. Like, if I'm a female wrestler, I do not want to be in AEW right now. If you're not in the mix with Jade Cargill, you might as well not even, you might as well really not exist in AEW. So, they made a movie about her journey, you know what I mean?
A damn good
to
one,
the
too.
WWE, and an enjoyable one.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's where your legacy is. It just makes sense to come back afterwards. And I usually would never advise anyone to even go to WWE either, but
got to make your money somehow.
Yeah. It's the right play. It's the right call to me if I'm Paige.
Yeah.
It's like, look at Kevin Owens. He saw the landscape. I could go hang out with my friends and get lost in the shuffle, or I could get paid like crazy and make this Ezekiel storyline work. And I got a WrestleMania match with Steve freaking Austin.
Yeah.
Staying right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think she's been healing for so long, though. I don't know when the healing process is over and she's ready to get back in the ring. She, the age may come. I mean, the age may come where it's like, does it really make sense to risk even more injury or risk other kinds of injuries getting back in the ring? I know she loves it. I know she's a lifer. Her parents, obviously, you see the movie, her brother, they all instill, their whole family are lifers in the business. So you get it. But I also think Saraya, if we can start calling her that, has more possibilities for herself, never stepping in the ring again. Go and establish your social media presence. There you go. Oh God, I almost went to Howard Hughes there. And I understand what Chris is saying. All the other ventures, all of that. There's a life outside this ring. Go and make that money. Go and live a comfortable life. Don't be subject to some young wrestler's mistake, flipping you over or something, as we saw recently with Big E. You don't want to be in a situation where you're kind of giving your body over to someone like that who might make a mistake at your expense. And so for me, I think she's left a legacy. She's people never going to forget Paige. Still, people want her to come back. That shows you how much of a legacy she left. So the smart thing is just go and see what else is out there for you. Go try acting. Why not? Go try the things. You've got a grit and a determination and an authenticity to her that I think is so fantastic. That's why The Rock made the movie, because The Rock, in conversations with her, interactions with her, he saw that this was someone whose story really could matter to people, got the right people involved, got Florence Pugh for
the Pugh.
I mean, to do the show, to do the film, and it completely worked, and it was great. So now what's the next stage? Because if you do a next stage, you're successful. Guess what? There's a sequel with Florence Pugh possibly coming back to play the character. So for me, I don't think she ever has to come back to the ring. I know AEW is a massive step down for her at this point. Chris, you're right. That women's division, she's no business being there. So go and do all of that. And then if you want to come back to the ring later on, fine. I just don't think you need to. But you're going to be a legend forever. People will love you forever, Paige, for God's sakes. Sorry. Go ahead, Aaron. What were you say?
Well, I think Paige is one of those people one of the few people that can write their own ticket.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just kind of echoing what you said, but like, you can make so much money by just being a Twitch affiliate. Like you could, and being a spokesperson for different brands and different things. And I mean, Paige could, if she wanted to, which I don't know if she does, she could do the fucking con circuit for the next 10 years and make all kinds of money. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't forget Paige. She's that important. If she's not going to, what's hard for Paige is she's in that edge, that Danielson mold where it's like, it's in her veins, it's in her blood. So she's going to want to do it again if she can.
True.
So if you can and you're able and you're cleared, why not? But I do think that there is a role for her in WWE backstage as an agent. Like they just added, over the past year, they added Molly Holly. So I think Molly Holly is great. Why not throw Paige in that mix? Mm-hmm. So I think she really could write her own ticket. If she wants to go to AEW and do that, she could. If she wants to, I believe her husband is a rock star or something like that. Like she could do that. I mean, you don't have to. She's in a rare position where she don't have to do shit. Like you want to go whitewater rafting in West Virginia, you can do that. You want to go to Niagara Falls tomorrow, you can fucking do that. So there's a lot of world out there besides pro wrestling, and that's just something else to consider for Paige.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me that if you did a reality show, people wouldn't watch. They would watch. Totally. You can watch the fucking twins, the Bellas. You can damn watch Soraya and what she's going through and her photo shoots and her, businesses, her social influencer life, going to red carpets, and people will want to invite her more to their events because she's on a reality show, which will just up her Q rating even more and up her bank account numbers even more. So there's a whole world here that she could open up for herself if she wanted to. Depends if she wants to or not. Yeah. And I just want to echo what Christine sent us earlier, saying that her, just want to give her love. Paige was poignant in her getting back into wrestling. She saw her at SummerSlam LA versus AJ, which was a banger. And yeah, Paige had some great matches for sure. Go back and watch some of those, both in NXT and on the main roster. So yeah, just wanted to give Christine some more love for the Streamlabs she sent us for sure. Justin Toner sent us one. Thank you, Justin. He says, "Hi guys, I still feel the whole interim AEW champion setup is convoluted. Also, what the fuck with all the mid-carders in the Battle Royale? Also, I think adding another mid-card belt to AEW with the All-Atlantic Championship may be a mistake right now over trios." So we will absolutely talk all that, Justin. I think we're going to pin in that one, right, Aaron?
I just want to make, we're going to get there. I just want to make one more point about that.
Sure.
For all the talk of Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, and Bayley, which they're, and rightfully so.
Yes.
The women's revolution in pro wrestling and WWE started with Paige.
100%.
That is where it started. That is the nexus of it. If it wasn't for Paige being so good in raising the profile of NXT, you ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
So think Paige.
Amen. She's
respect on the GOAT.
Yeah.
She's the Blade of superhero movies.
There you go.
Fair point. Absolutely. Empire Fan 19 says, Paige is my second favorite women's wrestler right now after AJ Lee. I hope we see her again, maybe in AEW. They need all the help they can get. Yeah, but That's the thing. She doesn't need to come down.
Yeah, that's the
Just
problem.
got to sort out the pieces, man.
Yeah, clean the house before you let her in.
Yeah. LeBron doesn't need to go play for the Wizards. I'm just letting you know. Another one, he said, I can see her be an actress. We know she likes to be filmed. I know I couldn't help it. I had to. LOL.
Oh, you mother.
You know what? Send us $100 for that. That's a massive take on your end. So send $100, Empire fan.
Send it to a charity for that one.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, sure. And then send us. All right. Okay, that's everything. Let's move on to our next thing here. And where are we going?
Our good friend of the show, Jake the Snake Roberts.
He's a friend of the show. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so Jake, of course, WWE Hall of Famer, legend, especially on the microphone, had some interesting words to say about the MJF promo.
This guy
that we were all raving about last week. Jake, of all people.
Of all people, Jake.
Apparently, he has a podcast I wasn't aware of, but him and
short-term memory. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess so. Him and Diamond Dallas Page on an episode of the DDP Snake Pit said that for him, MJF's promo made him sick. It really did. He went on to say, I would love to see what the locker room is like. The bomb that he dropped is going to have repercussions with people. And then when talking about the no-showing of the fan event, he said, I couldn't believe he no-showed a signing, man. It's a big thing with Tony. He loves these signings, and he wants these guys there. And for me, you don't miss stuff like that. This is your fans, your fan base. These people get paid, and you no-showed? So what do you think of Jake the Snake Roberts? A great promo, of course, as probably one of the best promos ever. Also known scumbag that I'm sure has missed a signing or two in his day, among other things. So what do you think about Jake's words for MJF?
I'm going to start by showing you guys one of my favorite pickups ever. This is 1988.
Ooh, that's slick.
Dude, look at that.
That's a pretty boy right there.
That's slick. I like that.
Yeah. And that's the only good thing I got going on about Jake the Snake in this segment.
Jake's in the case, but I'm not digging him out.
Because you sit in your glass house,
yes,
Jake, and have anything to say about MJF.
Yeah.
He no-showed. While I don't agree with it, his reasons were standing up for himself and wanting to be paid what he is worth, that literally everyone agrees with him that he's worth, and cut the promo that put it in perspective for everyone to agree that he's worth it. And you, sir, up to Aaron's point, we don't need to say out loud why you missed a lot of dates and signings, etc., birthdays, and family events, and whatever else we might need to talk about.
Yeah.
Jake, God bless you, my friend. I'm so happy that you're still with us, that you have cleaned up, that you have gotten it together. Get it together with your chicks. unless this is clickbaity and I didn't know he had a podcast until he said this, so maybe that's what it was, just promotion. Maybe he's working us in that way, which he is has a genius mind for the business and how it works. So maybe that's what he's doing. That's how I feel about Booker T. I think he does those company man things because he knows it gets heat.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna be optimistic and say Jake is just working us. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, he was working us. I would agree with you, Chris. I think it's brilliant because obviously he's involved in AEW as an on-camera talent. So it could be something that could come up down the road in a promo from MJF where he goes after Jake and dismantles him. And yes, you're right. I mean, Jake has to have a little bit. If he's not working us, then Jake's got to have a little bit of perspective here and look at his own record. As you said, not just no showing fan events, no showing shows, no showing for his family. As we saw in the documentary, the great documentary, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts, which you guys need to watch if you haven't watched. So I respect the man greatly. But as I said last week, mid-carders ain't got no space to be talking about the top talent. It's not, you have no fucking clue what it's like to be at the top. As great as Jake was, he never held the strap. MJF will have the strap of that company, AEW, soon. So for me, hearing from a mid-carder about what that guy is going through is a whole nother ballgame. Plus, you're a 1980s wrestler, 1970s, 80s, 90s, early 90s wrestler. That was a different time, right? Now there's way more money involved, way more exposure, way more ways to get used by people who don't understand your worth. And nowadays, people want to go and get their worth. The things that you guys would bitch about in the locker rooms all the time behind Vince's back, the new generation is doing. The things you bitched about that you wish you could do, the new generation is doing. So don't hate on the new generation. Support the new generation doing that, because they are essentially using your foundational anger as the foundation from which to jump from to do the things that they're doing. So that's my approach on this. And I love Jake. He's got a right to his opinion. Absolutely. If he's not working us, he's got a right to his opinion to say what he feels. But I think, MJF's got to do what's best for MJF, just as Jake at times has done what's best for Jake. So this is the thing that I look at the end of the day. So I find it ironic as hell that he was shooting his mouth off about it.
Yeah, the irony is quite there. I realize that Jake has turned over a new leaf, but I have heard from people that have gone to signings that maybe he hasn't quite turned over that leaf. Now, I'm not saying that about the extracurriculars. I'm just saying about attitude. So
he's an old man.
He is an old man. So I just think it's interesting that Jake would never have held Vince up for money or anything like that. No. He said that a lot. I mean, he also said that he was backstage at the Hall of Fame when the Ultimate Warrior was there and was going to punch him with a roll of quarters in his fist. So I don't know, man, like saying a lot of weird stuff, but I just thought it was interesting that Jake, because MJF, that promo there's a little Jake in there, because there's a little sprinkling of Jake in there. So we know that he's a fan. We know that MJF listened to Jake, and it's just very surprising that such a promo like this didn't resonate with Jake.
Yeah. And I do want to say one more thing, not about this, but kind of connected, semi-connected to this. Bully Ray Dudley chiming in on the Sasha Banks Naomi situation was maybe one of the most insulting things I've been catching up on and reading recently. Like, motherfucker, white man, you ain't got shit to say about a black woman's struggle in professional wrestling. Shut the fuck up. Let them do what they needed to do for themselves and chill the fuck out. I know your partner was black. That don't make you black. Okay. You don't know or a woman, you don't know what their experiences were like with this. So to chime in saying, in my day, we didn't do that. Like, fuck off, man. You have no idea what these women went through and what they endured and why they're standing up at this time, finally, once and for all, to another fellow white man and telling them where they can stick their booking. So I just found that to be odd. These other wrestlers chiming in on what these current stars are doing. I get that it's a cottage industry. You're going to make your money, but I also think there's nothing wrong to have a little more grace and compassion in these situations and understanding the perspective and understanding your place in all the of this situation, and maybe shutting up or not being too critical of what the things that they're doing, because they're trying to change the business so that the people who work for these owners and these companies have more say in how they're treated and how their stuff is booked. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's their asses on the line. It ain't Vince's asses in the ring. It's their asses in the ring, entertaining the fans to make Vince his money. So I'm just saying, putting it out.
Yeah. Look how Toni Storm, a white lady, was treated by WWE. And
yeah.
I can only imagine what Sasha and Naomi have had to deal with.
Yeah. And Mickie James getting her stuff in a fucking garbage bag, for God's sakes. JJ Open Tooling G says, who is all about the boom? Adam Cole, baby. That's true. That's a fair point.
I didn't think about that way.
Where shall we move to next here, Aaron?
Well, Chris, with a great segue there. We're talking about Toni Storm.
Ew.
We're talking about her most recent appearance on Talk is Jericho, Chris Jericho's podcast, where she gave more information about her departure from WWE in late December of last year. She also, of course, debuted on Dynamite on March 31st of this year. Most recently lost in the semifinals of the Women's Owen Hart Cup to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And she's currently in a feud with her and Jamie Hayter. She basically went on to say, it's a long thing. I'm not going to read it here. You can check out the episode to read it. But basically, she was at a dental office and she wasn't booked. And then WWE said, no, we need you there in like 2 hours. And then she said, how do I say no? I go. And then she's like, I'm not really even doing anything good. And she just got sick of the BS. She texted John Laurinaitis, said, I'm out. And that's it. That's essentially it. Toni Storm had enough of the bull crap.
Yeah.
Either use me or don't. I'm done. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I like this for her telling the truth and taking responsibility, because she also says, hey, I get it. The fans would be mad at me for this. I just kind of hit my own personal wall, and I didn't want, and I know other wrestlers have dealt with this stuff more times than I have. It just for me, I just hit my wall and I left. And they were kind about it. She said John Laurinaitis was very understanding about it. They didn't fight me on it. They didn't try to keep me doing it. So clearly they didn't see her as a star if they weren't going to fight to keep her there. So they gave her what she wanted, which was to let her leave and do the 90-day no compete. And then boom, showed up at AEW. So the story is a nice window into what these wrestlers go through. You know, we get deluded that because we think they're stars, or fans rather think they're stars, they're kind of just laying around the lap of luxury. There's all kinds of respect given to them. They have all kinds of days to prepare. They know what's going on. No, the fact that they can call a name like Toni Storm at 11 in the morning while she's at a dentist appointment, after she's been all week, she's been wondering if she's been told she's not going to be at the show, yet thinking she might be at the show. When she finally relaxes and thinks she's not going to be at the show, they call her, hey, you got to get to the show tonight. She jumps out of the chair, grabs her stuff, gets on a plane. So that tells you the lifestyle that these people have to go through as independent contractors just to be part of the WWE. So I thought it was a nice window that she also took responsibility for her actions and how people might perceive her, which I think is a good way to do it. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's like this weird indentured servitude that these guys are under that isn't, you know, if I'm an independent contractor, I can not only have competing jobs when I'm not called upon, you know what I'm saying? I'm not at your beck and call at any given time, especially when it involves travel, personal injury and risk, your public perception, you know what I mean? Like all these different things that go into being a professional wrestler, and they're just treated like, oh, just, hey, when we call you, you better be ready. You know what I mean? And it's like, nobody wants to be treated like that in a normal job, and not one, especially where you're literally putting your life on the line every time you do what you do. Accidents can happen when you're not even wrestling. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself at risk. And so to be treated, not to have your time respected, it don't matter how many times it happened or how many other wrestlers dealt with it more, whatever. Your personal limit is your personal limit, and it hurts. And I got nothing but respect to say, you know what? I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm sorry. I'm not handling it the right way. I should have probably showed up, whatever. But you know what? I just can't. And I get that.
Yeah. Aaron?
I have a distinct philosophy with work because I really enjoy the work-life balance. I'm sure you've seen the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling, where he's telling them about how he's, they're going to do this bank robbery and he's going to be their driver. And he says, listen, you have me for this period of time. Anything before or after that, don't call me, don't text me. We don't know each other. Don't write me. I don't care if the fucking building burns down in that time. But when I'm there for that 8 hours, I'm yours. I'm working. I'm doing everything that I can. Don't fucking call me afterwards because I don't give a fuck. So I understand that philosophy that Toni said, you know what? I've had enough. You don't own me.
Yeah.
So I'm good. And I think there's a big distinction. We talked about this in text, but I think there's a big distinction between the way Toni Storm has come off and the way that Ember Moon or Athena has come off. Where I think Athena just had a lot. She's a wrestler's wrestler, right? So she just had a lot in there, and she just boom, she just let it go on Chris Van Vliet's show, just boom, this and that happened, and I think she just came off as really bitter and just really bad. I think she came off really bad and didn't do herself any favors, and I think Toni just came off as listen, this is what I did, take it or leave it. I don't care what you think. So that is what it is. And I think this is two different philosophies, but I think Toni equated herself well, and Ember did not.
All right, fair. Athena,
sorry.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as well, and it's a funny dichotomy in our society, isn't it? I'm not going to go too deep in the hole on this, but like all our entertainment says, love yourself, embrace yourself, put yourself first. Self-care is important. Realize your worth, realize your value. Don't get mistreated. But then we also have a work society that says, go the extra mile, stay longer at work, sacrifice time with your family. Don't put yourself above the company. So it's an interesting, like, dichotomy philosophies that are always slamming into each other in our American society. I don't know. I haven't lived in any other countries. I only know the American society, but it's like the banging of these are constant. And you have the people who are like, oh, no, this is the way you should do it. And there's the other people who say, well, you're cocky, you're arrogant for believing in yourself the way you do. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? You know, it's confusing to me on so many levels, man. I'm sure we've all experienced that. I'm sure Chris definitely with the stand-up and comedy. And I'm sure you experience that all the time, brother. Yeah, exactly.
I think we missed a super chat earlier.
From who? Sorry,
it's from Orlando. It's
okay.
It's back past.
Sorry about that, Orlando.
The one about Adam Cole. It's like right before that.
Is this Chris is right? Okay, Chris is right about her. Paige saw the returns of Edge, Bryan Danielson, and Christian in the last 2 years, so she feels that she can return as well. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, when you think that there's no hope, and then you see guys who were in the same situation come back and are thriving, that's got to be hard. That's got to be a terrible pill to swallow as someone like Paige.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not look at that and think the same thing?
Yeah. Let's see. We got one more. A couple of them came through here. Orlando Orego says, by the way, I saw a spoiler for Impact Wrestling where Aces and Eights are coming back with Garrett. LOL. Okay, so there you go.
Impact Wrestling is the most.
It's
like one of those weird universes where your hands are hot dogs, or you know what I mean? Or it's like, yeah, it's out there, but what?
JJ says MJF returns at Forbidden Door for the interim title, maybe?
No.
Okay. All right.
Empire Fan had one too that you missed.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that Mick Foley's daughter may start an OnlyFans page? It seems like everyone has one nowadays. I'm sounding like an old man. But someone chimed in, Roberta Arsenal, who a loyal fan of ours, says she started that OnlyFans to pay for her medical bills. So I don't know what that's all about.
She does have a medical issue. I know that for sure. She did start her OnlyFans. I guess it went well. Sure, I can support you in that. Sure.
Again, it's your right to do what you want to do.
I'm not going to sign up for it, but good for you.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, anything? Okay, all right. Let's see any more Streamlabs or Super Chats. Send them in, ladies and gentlemen, as we're coming towards the last section of the show. So if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments about the world of wrestling this week, send it in now so we can address it. All right, let's move on, Aaron. What do we got?
I got to put my gimmick cigarette in for this one. We're talking about AEW Dynamite, and it started off with a battle royal to determine who would get a shot at Jon Moxley in the main event of this show to see who goes on to Forbidden Door to face basically Tanahashi. Let's be honest. So Kyle O'Reilly won that battle royal. I just want to make quick note of who was noticeably absent from this battle royal, which was Hangman Page, Adam Cole, Pac, Malachi Black, Wardlow, Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Injury, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Penta, and of course MJF. And then it was revealed after this battle royal that a new All Atlantic Championship belt has been revealed and a tournament announced. Pac defeated Buddy Matthews, so there he was in the opening round of this tournament. This tournament will also include Miro, Malachi Black, Penta, Ethan Page, and 2 reps from New Japan Pro Wrestling to complete that field. Yeah. Will Ospreay showed up, distracting Trent Beretta, allowing Aussie Open to attack them and stand tall. Hangman Page, there he was, defeated Dave Finlay. And then Hangman Page challenged Okada for the IWGP Championship, only to be interrupted by Adam Cole, baby, saying that Hangman Page ain't nobody. Adam Cole's the main draw. Wardlow made his world championship intentions known, but since Punk is recovering, says he has his eyes on the TNT Championship and Scorpio Sky. Thunder Rosa, somebody found her, defeated Marina Shafir, and Jon Moxley did defeat Kyle O'Reilly in the main event of Dynamite, and will move on to Forbidden Door to face probably Tanahashi for the interim AEW World Championship. Thoughts on Dynamite?
Chris, go ahead, man.
Quite often, AEW does the right thing. This week, they really dropped the old, I'm going to say they dropped the belt because you buried your own gimmick. You buried the interim championship angle, gimmick, whatever. It's like you can't have every main event wrestler in your company not give a solitary fuck about being the interim champion. It makes it seem like even if you are the interim champion, so you get a shot at Punk when he returns. So it's like your main event wrestlers don't care about a shot at the world title, essentially. And you got people that weren't in the Battle Royal in the All Atlantic Championship tournament or whatever the fuck. And the other guy who's on a huge roll wants the TNT championship. I don't make that make sense. You mean to tell me a guy like Jericho wouldn't want to be the interim world champion? You mean to tell me a guy like Pinto wouldn't? Malachi Black?
Yeah.
What? I just don't understand. If you were going to do this, if you're going to introduce a new title, then let that be the main thing. Say, you know what? Punk's injured, but we're not going to strip him of the belt because of injury. We're not going to have an interim champion. Here's the All Atlantic Championship. And you make that the main focus. Very simple. I am not a fan of more belts in either major two promotion. I'm going to throw Impact in there. I don't want a new type of Impact. I don't even watch Impact. You know what I'm saying? But this was the way to do it if you were going to introduce it. And you made it too convoluted. Now there's just madness going on, and maybe the chaos is because they're eventually going to bring in the Chaos stable from NJPW, our Bullet Club rivals for a while there. Yeah. But boy, oh boy, too much. It's starting to look like Tony's hair. Like AEW's out of control. My hair. Out of control. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron?
I fucking hated it. I agree with Chris 1,000% because I was like, did I catch this late or something? Or did it just start? Because they got towards the end and they were like, Andrade came out and they were like, that's all the entrance for the battle. I was like, wait, hold the fuck on. I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that it's either going to be Andrade, Kyle O'Reilly, Phoenix, or who the fuck else is in it?
Wheeler Yuta. And I was like, none of these motherfuckers are in this world title picture right now. Are you kidding me? I know of all the four, I was glad that Kyle won because at least Kyle had a great match at the pay-per-view. Yeah.
I could kind of believe that. But like Chris said, it's how do you not give a flying fuck about being the world champion? You buried your own belt.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, if it were me, and it's not, I would have pushed the Mid-Atlantic or All-Atlantic, All Elite Atlantic belt to next week or something. I would have had the Battle Royal be the whole show.
Yeah.
Or at least an hour of it. I would have made it a big focus. This is the main event. This is a big fucking deal. Here's all the guys that are in it. And I would have made it huge. And I wouldn't have had Moxley face whoever that night. It would have been next week. So we would have had something to build to. So it wasn't an unfair advantage that Moxley had, essentially, which makes it hard to root for somebody. And it was just a mess. Swerve eliminated Keith Lee, and it's they hate each other now. It's but why? If they were in a battle royal and one of them eliminated each other, it would be should they just be haha, you got me because we're friends and that's okay because they're man for himself. But no, apparently Swerve was talking shit about Keith Lee, and I was like, what happened? Yeah. I was like, what happened to these guys? And then it was I saw the Ass Boys in there. I was like, neither one of these guys are going to win. There's no Danhausen, no Hook. I'm like, what in the why should I should not care about this, and I don't care. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree. Too many. I mean, more belts. You got to earn more belts. I think, gentlemen, we're all how can I? We're all historians and students of the science of professional wrestling, and we know when we see a company or a federation overreaching. And I think Chris and Aaron, you both hit the nail on the head. This is not something that's going to be exciting and work in any way. They're trying, I mean, they're struggling to make their current belts, other than the top belts, have some sort of relevance. And even the top women's belt has come under fire over the last few weeks because they're not even promoting Thunder Rosa that strongly as being the champion. So you kind of devaluing that belt in a lot of ways. And that Marina Shafir match, that audience was dead. I heard two people talking to each other in the front row. Every word they said to each other was so fucking dead on TV. That's how dead it was. So introducing another belt makes no sense. And in no way does someone winning the belt on your roster give them some cachet that they didn't have before in the eyes of the fans. That belt means nothing. So them winning it means nothing. And I get it. He's trying to go back to the beginnings of wrestling with the AWA and all of that. That's trying to kind of bring the Mid-Atlantic kind of, he's trying to go back to the blood and guts beginning of pro wrestling. And I respect that, but you've got to take your time. Why are you rushing all of a sudden when you've been slow, when you've been building it step by step by step? This is how you overreach and fucking destroy the whole thing. And that's what I'm worried about. And it reminds me of that moment in Austin Powers, right? When Dr. Evil's had sex with the German or the lady, his second in command, and
Frau,
right? Frau. And he's like, I'm not going to make it. It's not going to be awkward, honey. And then the next day they're at the coffee table and he's like, it's kind of awkward, isn't it? And that's what it feels like. We all went to sleep with AEW and now it's kind of awkward because he promised us it wouldn't be awkward. And now it's fucking awkward. So that's what I feel like when I look at what's happening here. And yeah, you got Hangman Adam Page coming out and straight up saying they won't let me be in the battle royal to be considered for the interim championship to face Jericho. That's not good. When your former champ, who you took the belt off Kenny Omega to put on this guy because you wanted this guy to go and take AEW to the next heights, he's basically saying he's not allowed to be a part of this thing. So just kind of weird how this all went down, to be honest with you. And even the Toni Storm running in on Thunder Rosa, it seems kind of convoluted and forced. And so eventually, I guess she's going to face Rosa and maybe take the belt off of her, which I think they really want to do. It's so obvious they want to take the belt off Thunder Rosa, but they want to respect that she's a Latino wrestler, Mexican wrestler. Yep. So they don't want to make it obvious, but they are so making it obvious they don't want her to have the belt. So in the end, just a lot of wasted opportunities here on the show. I was really surprised by Dynamite this week, but the Will Ospreay stuff was great and even better on Rampage when they had their match. So that's one of the highlights, I would say, from Dynamite.
I was going to say, I mean, I was going to go down the wasted opportunity train on that.
Okay.
So you bring in Ospreay. He's not in the Battle Royal?
Good.
What?
Point.
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
Yep. This phenomenal wrestler.
Oh, no.
Oh. That's a perfect position for him to be frozen on, though. I love.
You got this relationship with New Japan.
There you freeze. Oh, man.
Yeah, you did. Go ahead.
You froze.
Pick up where you left off there. You kind of were saying, well, you got this.
Yeah. You got this phenomenal guy, this phenomenal wrestler. Everybody's waiting to see. You don't give him a match. You involve. I mean, look, Aussie, oi all day. But then they lose on Rampage. It just seemed very. I just need. Tony, give me a call. Let's talk this out for the next few months. We'll figure this out. Let's take our time. We don't need to do all at once. Less is more, my friend. Less is more. Helps you focus more.
You have this relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and like none of those guys are in it. It's like, where are those guys at? Like, no, let's put them on Rampage, a show that nobody gives a shit about because it's on at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. People are doing stuff. Like, who cares? Also, Mid-Atlantic Championship note or All-Atlantic Championship note. Let me get the mic closer to my face for this one. You know what's not touching the fucking Atlantic Ocean? Japan and China, which are both represented on the flag. Is that a fucking joke? I was like, are you like, what are we even doing here? I don't like the All-Atlantic Championship, and I'll tell you why. More belts is more convolution. We need to rebuild the TNT title's prestige by putting it on Wardlow. We can do that. Although I do like the Lake Show title. It's pretty badass. But anyway, Trios titles is something that people keep talking about. Like, put in the trios titles, put the trios titles. Fuck trios titles. I don't want them. If you want trios titles, go to fucking Mexico, because that is where trios matches happen.
Right. They
don't happen in the United States. Stop it. Just stop. And I do want to say one thing. I think it was Wardlow, and correct me if I'm wrong, that said, I told Tony I didn't want to be in the Battle Royal because I wanted to wrestle for the TNT title. You're fucking stupid. That makes you look like a jackass. Like, why would you not want to wrestle for the TNT title?
Right.
A lot of things made me angry on Dynamite because I want it to be so good, and then it wasn't. Aussie Open, these are dudes that I saw in Progress like a long time, like 3-4 years ago. Dude, they were phenomenal then, and they've only gotten better since. So good for them. That was definitely a high point of the show. And I do want to make a quick note about Mr. Takashita, the guy that wrestled Hangman last week, was in the Battle Royal this week. Sign this guy. Like, if you haven't signed this guy, Tony, like, maybe you have and I just don't know, but sign this guy. He's great. He's got a great look, like great move set, like young guy, like, but big enough to have a imposing size. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Also, quick note about FTR and their constant prodding of AEW, which is great, where they put, I think it was either 4 or 6 weeks of the tag team rankings where FTR's the number 1 ranked contenders, yet next week for the tag team titles, it's Jurassic Express versus the Hardys and the Young Bucks, but not FTR.
Right.
And it's in a ladder match, which makes me so scared for the Hardys. Like, I can't even quantify how terrible that is. So they may be so terrified. But there's all of that I have for Dynamite. Very frustrated. And it shouldn't be that frustrating. Yeah.
Justin Toner is saying Wardlow said he only wanted to beat CM Punk for the title, not some interim champ.
That's stupid.
Let's get this real clear. We've been on this journey with you for the last few months, Wardlow, and finally you're all elite. Motherfucker, you don't get the terms of when you decide to fight for the goddamn belt. You're still a young, up-and-coming talent, kid. You're one knee injury away from being forgotten as a big dude with promise. Okay, so don't fuck around and thinking. I know believing in yourself is a good thing. I get it, but you've also got to have the evidence to back up believing in yourself. And you haven't had the matches to be dictating the terms for when you're going to go for a belt. That is fucking ridiculous. If it's not storyline based, and this is really what he said to Tony, that's some nutty ass shit. I think that's crazy, for God's sakes, to be that way. So, yeah.
This is a big proving ground for Wardlow.
Yeah.
Cornette said it. The reason Wardlow works, he's over. Look who was on the other side of the ring with him this whole time. It was MJF.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Scorpio Sky.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like heroes are defined by their villains. Mm-hmm. Batman's not great just because he's Batman. His rogues gallery is amazing. Spider-Man's rogue gallery is amazing. The Flash's is amazing. Underrated. Yes. But I don't know if Scorpio Sky's the right guy to continue this momentum for Wardlow. Wardlow, in my opinion, is not a made man yet.
Yes. Yeah.
Not a made man yet. He's not all world. He's not always going to be over. You got to be careful with this momentum. I'd love it if he went after, if he feuded with Jericho right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And had to deal with that on the other side of the shit. And everybody Wardlow works because you want to see him kill the other guy. I don't know if they necessarily want to see him kill Scorpio Sky. They just, kind of want the belt off of Scorpio, as we talked about last week over and over again. So this is a real proving ground, man. And starting off by burying the world title and yourself by looking like a doofus is not the greatest way to begin this. So we'll see.
Yeah. It just Roberto Arsenal said that I literally said I want Wardlow to legitimize the TNT belt, not worry about the world title. Yeah, if that's your only option. Yeah. Like if that's what you have to do, but like who the hell like in the UFC like gets an interim title fight, because that's like the only thing I can compare it to. It's like, such and such bout out, you can fight Conor McGregor for the interim title. Nah, I'm good, man.
No.
Good. No. I don't want to be the world champion. I don't want to make any money. No, I'm good, bro. I don't want to have that on the pay-per-view. Makes no sense. Also, on top of that, for me to get even angrier, John Moxley, man, like I
Yeah.
don't see what you see in John Moxley. Like to me, if I'm headlining a pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling as my partner, John Moxley's like the 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7th dude. I'm thinking like, yeah, he could probably be in the main event. I don't want to watch a world title main event with John Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
Like Okada versus Hangman, though not my first pick, I'll watch the shit out of that as opposed to John Moxley versus Tanahashi. That does nothing for me, man. That is a nothing burger of a main event.
It's been a tough build.
Yeah. And it was obvious, wasn't it? As soon as Kyle O'Reilly won, which you had no business winning, you knew Moxley was going to win. If Andrade had won, that would have had some intrigue. Which way are they going to go? Would have been very interesting to see Moxley versus Andrade. That's a great match. But nothing against Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle O'Reilly is the sell-by date. We've already moved past the sell-by date on Kyle O'Reilly. He'll come up and he'll probably have the titles again with Fish at some point down the road. But nobody believed he was going to beat Moxley and face to carry the belt on his shoulder. There was no way that was ever going to happen. So you killed that main event by not making a believable main event that it could go either way. That was such a kill that I did not understand. Even Wheeler Yuta would have been an interesting one. You're like, okay, are they going to let the young guy have a shot against that? Would have maybe had some intrigue, but no. I mean, the Kyle O'Reilly was so obvious he was not going to win that. So it just was so strange on so many levels. And I'm with you, Aaron. Moxley, if he comes out of this thing with a belt, it doesn't move the needle that much. It really doesn't. And maybe they've got some internal polling that shows that it does. And look, there's no disrespect to John. He's a great wrestler. But I don't see him being over like other people are over to carry the belt, even the interim one, in the way that they need to while Punk recovers.
He's over, and I even would say that he was a good AEW World Champion, but it was also during the pandemic when kind of had to do a little bit. And I'm glad he's come back and all that stuff, but I never saw it. Dean Ambrose, I never saw it. John Moxley, I never saw it. Like when he came back and beat up Kenny Omega and showed up in AEW. I was like, this is great. But I just never have been a John Moxley guy. And there are people that are, and I totally get that. But I just don't. Like if someone said, all right, we have this big collaboration with New Japan. All right, give me your main event. John Moxley versus Tanahashi. It's half good. That's half good. Can I give you a quick update of the injuries? So
sure.
That also has a factor of it too. So at AEW,
wait, real quick, Aaron,
good.
I want to get your thoughts real quick because Dave Langer says Mox deserves a title run with the fans. As you said, he got it during the pandemic. So do you think he does? Do you guys think he does deserve a title run with the fans to see if maybe he can be as over as Punk is with a belt with a strap on his shoulder?
Here's what I'll say. I was in the arena for that for the Anarchy that was in the arena.
Oh boy.
And I mean, sometimes the theme music is all you need, really. And as the longer Wild Thing played, the more electric the building got. Okay. And while I still think it's the wrong song for him, it's over. It's over. The fans love him. They love him coming through the crowd and doing the thing. And so, yeah, I don't think it's a terrible choice for basically what you have left, which is what you're about to get into here.
Yeah. Aaron, sorry.
So, I mean, I would think that these injuries have something to do with it. So on the AEW side, we're looking at Punk, of course, with his undisclosed injury. I was reading that Adam Cole has a torn labrum, possibly. So That's probably why Adam Cole hasn't been wrestling. He's been dealing with that for a while, apparently. Danielson has an undisclosed injury. Kenny Omega still out with multiple injuries. Sting has a back injury. Jeff Hardy, we don't know what's going on with Jeff, but I guess he's supposed to wrestle next week. Scorpio Sky's leg is fucked up. Like, a lot of stuff going on. I mean, let me even talk about the WWE side. Cody with his pec. And then these are just people that aren't there. You've got Edge that probably won't be there for a little bit. Sasha, Naomi, Bayley, Orton, Charlotte. Like, guys, I know you brought back Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode this week, but what the hell? Like, we need stars, and we do not have them.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Now's the time. All you talent out there that have been chirping, and we don't get an opportunity, and you make something happen. Now's the time to make something happen.
Yeah, show up with 10 storylines at Vince's door. You got to show a desire to really kind of set yourself apart. That's how you do it.
Just say whatever you got for me. Just let me get out there. Let me show you I got something. Just whatever you got, just go for it. Now's the time.
Remember the Lacey push?
I guarantee you, like Chris said earlier, and I want to lend credence to this.
Yeah.
I guarantee you a guy like Sami Zayn went into Vince's office knowing all this is going on and is just like, hey, Vince, what if I won the Money in the Bank? And then like I'm like doing the bloodline thing, and then I cash it in on Roman. And everybody's like, oh, wow, he betrayed them. And then Roman beats me in like 2 seconds. And then I could just see Vince like thinking about it. And he goes, yeah, I love it, pal. It'll kill. Like that's the kind of guy that could do it.
Yeah. It's perfect. He knocks out both the Usos with the case.
There you go.
Bashes it in while Roman is lying there. And then Roman gets up and spears him. And that's that. Zeno Hour says, I'm going to fight Aaron while wearing an AJ Brown Eagles jersey. No John Moxley slander on my watch.
Man, that one hurt. We're going to have a bad year. Somehow we lost both of our 2 top wide receivers. Ryan Tannehill's mad because they drafted Malik Willis. It's going to be a bad year for us, I feel like. There's turmoil in the Titans.
No, Tannehill, you're fucking lucky, man. You should count your star.
God, he said he wasn't going to mentor the kid. I was like, Jesus, dude. God.
Maybe you don't understand where you're at right now in your career, Ryan. Someone should explain it to you very firmly. And no, don't go look at Matt Stafford as some kind of excuse for you. AJ Daniel says, it might be nothing, but I've noticed AEW keeps putting Sting on the poster for Blood and Guts. Has me thinking he might return there, guys.
Yeah, possible. I
don't
know how bad it.
Card subject to change, man.
Always. Zach Taylor saying, aloha, gents. Currently on a trip through Malta and Romania. Whoa. Just wanted to send some support like always. Why does Meltzer have such a mad on for Cornette lately? BNW for life. The hashtag Last Cinema Sailor. Oh, hey, good to see you, Zach. Gentlemen, thoughts on Meltzer's mad on for Cornette lately? Probably say hard on, but yeah, what's that all about?
I don't know. It feels like, Dave just, I don't know. To me, he just fights for relevancy on a regular basis. And he's so exposed as somebody who is in the pocket for AEW, and the things he says, like the mental gymnastics that he does in order to like try to create some shit as to why like AEW can do no wrong and WWE always is wrong.
Yeah,
is baffling and hilarious at best at sometimes. And so I think that's all it is. You know, people are checking for Cornette way more than they used to.
True.
And it's like, what can I go after for some relevancy here?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cornette said it this week. He said that what's funny about Meltzer like harping on him is that like Cornette doesn't like Kenny and the Bucks. Doesn't like it. He always praises Punk. He praises MJF. He praises like FTR, some other stuff too. But he says, isn't it funny that the stuff that I like and really like is the top rated stuff on the show, and all the stuff that Dave likes is the bullshit that people just don't want to say they don't like. And it's just, Cornette said a couple years ago to Dave Meltzer that he doesn't want anything to fucking do with him. Don't email him. Don't do nothing. And Dave just like can't get over it. He's like a jilted lover.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. You know, you got to understand your power dynamic. When you understand your power dynamic, you can fuck with those people that other people think are institutions. Demetrius Thomas says, I think Tony Khan has overwhelmed himself with booking all the matches in AEW, and he has more misses than hits. Gentlemen, I don't think he has more misses.
I wouldn't say that. I think currently he's a bit overwhelmed. He's got a lot going on. You know what I mean? He's got several massive businesses away from AEW.
Right.
He's got so much to do creatively for AEW. He has no help. He won't allow help. Yeah. And he's got another promotion that he bought that he's got to figure out the future of. So just a lot going on.
Yeah, agreed. J-Dog, you sent in a super chat. Did I miss it? Oh, sorry, buddy. He said AEW is running the risk of oversaturating the product of no return. Enough with too many belts.
Dude, like Chris just said, like Tony Khan's got Jaguars, he's got Fulham, he's got what are we doing with Ring of Honor, and then he's got let's just fucking add belts. Like It's a lot, man. And I know that, you guys know as well as I do that Tony doesn't want to give up that creative control, that power. Like everything goes through Tony. Like he's the booking committee. It's one guy. He said in the interview with us. There's no committee. There's one, and it's Tony. That's got to wear on you at some point. Like, does this guy sleep? Like, he's got to sit there and worry about, okay, well, we need to get James Robinson up to speed or Travis Etienne recovered from his injury. We got to get Trevor Lawrence up and rolling for our franchise. And then he's got probably like charity events and who knows what the fuck else. Like, I don't know if this guy breathes or sleeps. I don't know, but it's a lot. You got to delegate, man. Bring somebody in. William Regal should be his backbone. And he's got Jerry Lynn. He's got Dean Malenko back there. Like
even Jericho. Even
Jericho. These guys can help you, man. Just come on, Tony.
Yeah, if you thought wrestling fans were rabid, Fulham fans, any Premier League fan team, those fans are rabid for
Hooligans.
Their team. If you saw Manchester United, the protests that happened against the Glazers a few months ago, they ransacked their own stadium with flares and riots outside. Riot police had to show up to quell the fans in front of their own stadium because of the Super League, European Super League thing. So don't mess around with fans of football teams there in England, man. It is not a good idea. So, this is a lot to put on Tony's plate. And hopefully, as you said, he's delegating. He's figuring out how he's going to delegate the situation. We shall see. All right. Anything else we should finish on? Anything else we didn't miss or didn't talk about?
Roxanne Perez won the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. She beat Tiffany Stratton in the finals, so she will be getting a future women's title shot. So shout out to the prodigy of Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. She killed it. We all know if Nikita Lyons wasn't hurt, she would have won it. But that's great. That's great. Roxanne Perez is great.
That Roxy. That's great that she won. I'm happy for her that she won, but I know Tiffany Stratton is a favorite Aaron Turner, so I know he took that loss hard. So
I did.
We shall see.
She's got it all, boys.
What the fuck is going on with Braun Breaker? I haven't heard anything at all. His name hasn't come up at all in the last few weeks. Is he just chilling out?
They're giving him stupid title contenders. Like he's been in a feud with Joe Gacy, which is like being in a feud with me. Like it's about the same amount of athleticism.
Yeah. I feel like I'm watching the beginning of Rocky 3 with him.
Fuck, exactly. He's beating tomato cans. That's it. But he is facing Cameron Grimes at the next NXT special, and I'm just like, fucking hell. I guess that's something.
And one last thing before we wrap, Edward Harrell said that Bret Hart managed FTR at a big time wrestling event. So does that make it even more of a possibility down the road? No,
it's a one-off. It's a one-off because Bret doesn't want to work. Bret doesn't want to fly around the world week to week. He's happy being in Canada with his family and his young, attractive wife. He's happy being home.
Fair enough. And one last thing, Apollo Crews is a positive or a negative to him back to NXT, gentlemen, without the accent. Okay. All right. There we go. There's Chris's answer. And Aaron.
What?
I don't care. Apollo Crews, infamous wrestling figure, what they call a peg warmer, as it just sat on the pegs forever. Ouch. So that tells you how popular Apollo Crews is. Uber talented guy.
Yes.
Like if he got released tomorrow, which I don't hope that happens or anything, but I don't know where he'd go because he doesn't fit anywhere. Impact, I guess, but I
think he could kill it on AEW.
He's smiley, great smile, great looking guy, great body. It's just personality of a fucking rock. I don't know.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Well said.
Charisma vacuum.
All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of Strong Style. We talked everything that we need to talk about from the world of pro wrestling this week. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for the Streamlabs, Super Chats, the lively chat, and the over 100 of you who watched us for a majority of the show. Thank you so much. As we're wrapping up, please make sure you hit a like. If you're watching this later, leave a comment down below as well. Aaron, another fun show, brother. Where can they find you? What you got going on?
You can find me next week, not here. You can find me hanging out with Shotzi Blackheart and the Blade and the Bunny. And who else is going to be there? Kane Hodder, Heather Langenkamp. I'll be hanging out with some cool people this week, so I'm excited.
Nightmare on Elm Street action. Respect. Chris Burns, another fun show, brother man. Where they can find? What do you got going on? Are you back in LA? You're staying in LA for a little bit. What are your travels taking you this week?
I am in LA for the foreseeable future. I'm being pressured to go to Money in the Bank. I think that I'm gonna have to make that happen, and then I think I'm gonna be in your neck of the woods. Well, I'm gonna be in Miami, but I'll be in Florida in July at some point.
Nice.
But in the meantime, follow me, Chris_please, for all the happenings and all the Bullet Club parties that you guys aren't invited to.
So true.
Very well.
You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we got going on. Going to have a Ms. Marvel review tomorrow. If I get this thing written and recorded at the time, you will get a Jurassic World Dominion spoiler review today, later on this afternoon. So just having some fun this weekend with some content. Stay on the channel and look out for all of it. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new live episode of Strong Style.